Hi, writers. Welcome back. All right, so ekphrastic writing or ekphrasis. All right, this is just a fancy way of saying describing something in vivid detail. So, if you remember, way back in ancient Greek times, this technique first started because there was no photography, there was no pictures, there was no way to show someone something unless they were directly looking at it. So the way to get over this obstacle was to describe something so well that you could picture it in your mind. So I'm so glad that this has stood the test of time. I mean, people are still using it, even though we have a way to share images better than ever before. This is still such a valuable piece of writing. And I love applying ekphrastic writing to this book, because there's so many examples of when the writer, Koningsberg, describes something in the museum, and it's like we can kind of see it. So it makes things vivid, it makes things personal, it brings a story to life. So it does a lot of work here, ekphrastic writing. So for our writing prompt today, should be no surprise, but we are going to pick a work of art and describe it vividly. And by work of art, I'm referring to most like an object, so painting, sculpture, like a thing you can have, like perfume, dance, music, like these are all examples of art. But for today's purposes, to describe an object, we're going to stick to an actual thing. If at any point you wanted to try and describe movement or music or smell or something that's a little bit more intangible, that's, I wouldn't stop you. So, but for today, describing an object is what we're going to be focusing on. All right, so writing vividly. How does one achieve something like this? Well, the first step really is to pick a work of art that excites you. You want to find something that you really are excited about describing. So if you're not as passionate about something, it's harder to convey that passion. Pretty simple. So pick something that you actually like. And then the next, so just go and look at some paintings. I have a link to a Guardian article. There's like the greatest masterpieces of all time. You can agree or disagree. It's just a fun place to start. If you don't want to look at like a conventional classical piece of art, you can look at maybe there's statues in parks or schools by you. Maybe there's a mural where you live. There's examples of art we can see like just walking around where we are. That could be something useful to you if you don't want to just pick like a regular old museum object. All right, but so once you've picked a piece of art, you're going to want to include a couple of writerly elements when you want to describe something. So here are 4 elements that I have listed that will really help make writing more descriptive and more vivid. All right, so the first is detail. And just try and really look at something, notice it deeply. At first glance, we see things as a whole. So look further and to see things as little pieces. Like if you look so closely at something, what are you seeing now? Those little details make it so the reader can see it better, but also you're picturing it better in your mind so you can write about it better. So detail number 1, always a good place to start. The next writerly element would be adjectives. So an adjective is a word that describes something, or an adverb. Things that are all not just trying to describe a detail, but the way you describe it with adjectives and adverbs brings depth and it brings life to what you're describing. So detail, adjectives. The third thing is context. So this is anything that physically is surrounding the object or any information, relevant information about it. Is this a beautiful object that's in a beautiful palace? I mean, that sort of creates a relationship to what the object is and what it's about. Is it in a dump? Did you find a beautiful object in the dump? Is this something you found like pulling out of a treasure of something? Like all of these sort of different things make us imagine the object in a different way, imagine its value. So context, that's for physical context, but also in information. So is this painting was painted in 500 years ago? Was there different People were looking at things differently then. What was going on at the time? These are all things that you can include. They make it so we can understand the object better. And then the final thing is affect. Affect with an A. So that means, how does the art or the thing you're looking at make you feel? And you can describe that like it evokes emotion, it makes you feel this way. You can associate with it. It reminds me of this time. You can, connect it to something you remember. Maybe this, invokes a memory or something about that. So what's the personal relationship that you have with this art? So if you don't feel like you want to describe your feelings about it, you can just talk about how you found it, how it come to be, why you picked it, why you noticed it. These are all things that reveal even more the sort of magic or the sort of intrigue that an object could have. So think about Claudia looking at Angel, think about the mystery surrounding it, think about the beauty. All of these things are connected into our notion and our image of this statue. So detail, adjective, context, and affect. These are all great ways to include descriptive and vivid writing. So I look forward to reading any of your ekphrastic pieces. If you would like to get feedback on your writing or have a chance to be a featured writer, where I'll be sharing and giving live feedback on writing, feel free to post that into the comment, and I look forward to reading your writing. So till next week.